my 50th birthday. Hello and welcome on in to Classic Pro Wrestling with the WFIA podcast, episode number 5, guys. We must be doing something right already. I am your host, Chris DiCarlo, a WFIA board member. Along down in the corner to my left, the man with class, Mike the Class DiGregorio from Rhode Island. How are you, sir? Mike.
Pretty good.
There you go.
Getting ready for WrestleMania weekend.
Yes. Upper corner to my left, the one and only player, our producer and friend, Mr. Benny Scala.
Glad to be here as always.
And under me is our guest for this week, former 70s big-time announcer with a great announcing team, history of the business, and has got different shows, and also is a WFIA special advisor. He is Mr. Terry Sullivan.
Hello, everybody.
How are you doing, Terry?
So before we get into it, we were talking off camera about the good old days, the territories. I had a question for you, Terry, about the Detroit there. They didn't have like any. Let's see. I mean, the studio. They showed like the shark cage, the one episode, but like no cage match, nothing too special in back in the studio day, huh?
Inside of the studio?
Yeah.
Not so much. And of course, that was the day when you didn't have the big matches in the studio. The studio was hyped for the arena, where you would see the cage matches and the Texas death matches and things.
The Cobo Arena and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we're going to sponge off of Danny. Man, my mind. Benny and Nikita's show last night centered on Haystacks Calhoun. Terry, I remember him on Big Time Wrestling Detroit. He was going against the killer Tim Brooks with Chuck Allen calling the action.
Right. I ring announced that match. That was from Cincinnati. I knew Stacks pretty well. He was a good guy, sort of a curmudgeon, but yeah, hey, he was, like I say, he was a good fellow. Always treated me just fine.
All right. Well, Benny, if you will, please roll our clip on Mr. Terry Sullivan, please.
Oh, God.
Here we go.
Hi, everyone. I'm Terry Sullivan. Big Time Wrestling is on the air for the next hour. Another outstanding lineup of stars. Awaiting now to get our first bout underway in the ring, Bobby Colt and John Bonello. Also to come, John Davidson, the mighty Igor, Bulldog Don Kemp, Randy Scott. You're going to see the Assassin, Tim Talltree, and more of that outstanding attendance record match from Tokyo, Japan between the U.S. champion, the Sheik, and Abdullah the Butcher, as they meet Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. That via videotape from Tokyo coming up a little later on in the program. So a full hour. Let's get to it now. In the
memories.
Hello, everyone. I'm Terry Sullivan, along with Dave Drayson, back with another edition of Big Time Memories. And something really unique today, something very different, as we take a good, hard look at what happened.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, something a little bit different. It's very rare, very seldom we get an opportunity to actually get with a wrestler and talk to them about not so much the matches that are coming up and your feud with this person or the other person. We've had a lot of people say we want to get to know the man. And I've got the man.
The modern
man. Where did you find that? Jeez.
From the archives of, I forgot my tagline. I'm not tagline, but my, these videos are mine. I don't sell them. I don't rent them. I clip them for the use of our show here. And of course, my personal vault. And, we got more of you, Terry, too. You know that.
God, I actually didn't embarrass myself. I could actually watch that without, being super ultra critical. But yeah, that last clip, Calvin Coco, one of the guys on Championship International Wrestling, he's out of St. Louis.
I say keep your eye on this young man because he's really got something. In fact, that interview we did, he used as part of his audition for the WWE ID program, and he hasn't been picked up yet. But I say give him a year or so.
Kind of like Ralph Harkey's godson there, Marco Harris, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's an up and comer. I mean, he had already had a match against the NWA heavyweight champion. So I mean, and he's been in and out of Memphis Pro Wrestling TV down there. So
What was his first name?
Marco Harris.
Marco. Okay, because we had an ID match last Sunday in Toledo. I can't remember the guy's last name.
So that's what you're still doing, the big time memories in Toledo territory.
Neither
now.
No, big time wrestling, big time memories is pretty much history. I think we've done everything there was to do, and some would disagree with me, but and then no more promotions. I am officially retired.
Oh, okay. Well, you deserve it. You had a long, great career, and
that was long.
Yeah, and guys, this is Terry knows. I've known Terry for a few years now, and a great man, a great friend, and a great career, like we said. But he is known around my show anyway as for his annual WrestleMania picks. And that's why we got to do this show. It's like a tradition, our annual WrestleMania tradition. Our podcast focuses, of course, on the classic, the great days. But I watch the Royal Rumble and I watch WrestleMania every year, and I keep up on it through YouTube and whatnot. But Terry, for the past 2 years, every match on the card, he's picked a winner. And we'll see if he can do it again this year. So, Mike, why don't you take us through our first WrestleMania match?
Sure. The first WrestleMania match is between Gunther and Jey Uso. Gunther is the current champion, and a singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, that's a tough one. They're all sort of tough on that level. I think that Jey will get his hand raised at the end. I mean, what else can they do to this guy? They beat him up so horribly week after week after week, and I think it's the popular move. I don't know. It's really hard to say. It depends on where they intend to go with both wrestlers in the future. But I'll give the nod to Jey.
I think right, because of the Royal Rumble win, right? The tradition was Royal Rumble winner gets the title match, and then obviously the belt. For that reason alone, I'm gonna go with Jey. Now, whether he holds it for a long time or not, we'll see. But I give it to Jey too. Benny,
I totally agree with you guys as far as him winning. I don't think it's a good move. I mean, I'm not a heel guy, but I'm a huge fan of Gunther. I think Gunther is one of the most talented wrestlers that I've seen in many, many years. I've told, my podcast said that you could take Gunther, put him in a time machine, send him back to, big time wrestling or Mid-South and he would be a star anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
And Jey Uso, yeah, I mean, he's all right, pretty average wrestler, pretty average promo skills, but he's got that yeet cat. So that you're giving somebody a championship because they have a good entrance and they have a catchphrase over a guy who is a generational talent. No, I do agree that is going to happen. I just think it's really sad because I think Gunther is just such a special talent. But especially after he obliterated Jimmy Uso. And that was pretty nasty. You don't really get to see blood on TV that much anymore.
No,
but that was pretty graphic. And after that, how could Jey not win?
Yeah, I agree.
Mike, what do you say?
I'm going to go with Gunther.
Wow.
And I think it's going to be some interference.
Yeah, the big unknown.
I hope you're right, Mike. I do. I do hope that Gunther wins.
No, I like Gunther too, but in this, I gotta go with Jey here.
Yeah, no, I if I have to, if I'm in front of a bookie in Vegas, I'm giving him money and telling him to bet on Jey Uso.
Yeah. Mike, our next match, sir.
So next match is the War Raiders, which is Eric and Ivar. They're the current champions versus the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods.
I'm
Interesting matchup
saying
here.
I'll start it off and I'll say the New Day is going to get it again.
I'll go with the War Raiders. You know, this is like the Usos versus the New Day from a couple of years ago every week. And so I think they're going to go their separate ways, and I think the War Raiders will keep the titles.
Benny?
I would like to see that happen. I really think because of the fact that they turn New Day heel, which I don't think is a good move at all. But I think because of that, there's going to be some chicanery, and I do think they're going to win, much to my disappointment.
Mike?
Yeah, I have the New Day winning, but I also see an appearance by Big E.
Oh, good point.
Possible.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of shenanigans. That might be part of them.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, good idea. All right, next one.
The next one is Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano, which we all know is Chad Gable under the mask. That's going to be another high-flying match, but I have Rey Mysterio actually winning in that one.
I'll agree with that. Terry?
Well, it's hard not to cheer for Rey Mysterio. This is his 11th WrestleMania. I hope he wins it, but he won't. I call mask versus mask at an event in the future.
Like the old WCW days.
Yeah.
Benny?
Yeah, I think at this point in his career, I mean, Rey Mysterio is a legend, one of the greatest of all time, but I think he's at the torch passing phase of his career. So I think that's what he's going to do. And very well. It's going to be a great match, though.
Next one.
We have Jade Cargill versus Naomi. So Naomi recently did a heel turn, so this is going to be another interesting match here. But it's hard to say with this one. I call this one a toss-up, but I guess I'm gonna go with Jade Cargill on this one.
Well, I think last year was her WrestleMania debut, but I'm going to go with Naomi. I think they're going to, now that she came back from TNA, I think they're going to push her a little bit this time. So I'll go with Naomi winning WrestleMania. Terry?
Jade. 100%.
Benny?
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, Jade came from AEW, and boy, was she greener than grass. And so now you have to throw in who I think is the most talented female wrestler, Bianca Belair, into to be her tag team partner, so it doesn't expose her for her inexperience. And that lasted quite a long time. But I think, and I don't really see that. She made a little bit of progress, but I think with her, they gotta start giving her the push. It's now or never. So I think Jade is going to win.
Oh, I agree with that too, but All right, next one, Mike.
Next one is LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu.
For the U.S. title.
And I've got actually Jacob Fatu winning that match.
I'll agree with that. Jacob Fatu is going to beat LA Knight.
Yeah, so that's for the U.S.
Terry?
Yeah, he's going to keep the winning streak going, so he's on a hot streak.
Oh,
I think the Bloodline, some of the other members will likely get involved. They're more or less like the Keystone Cops. They just fall all over each other. But LA Knight is just so popular, which is for reasons I don't get at all. But I see him taking it.
Yeah, Benny?
I think that I like LA Knight, but I mean he's okay, but I don't think they've booked him properly, and I think they could have gotten a lot more out of him than just the U.S. title. But I actually think that Jacob is going to win, and there's going to be some interference from the Bloodline to enhance that. But I really think that this is going to be part of his turn, where he turns babyface because I think he's going to turn on Solo because he's going to want to have won it by himself without interference. So I do think there's going to be a lot of shenanigans this weekend.
Good point. Yeah.
All right, Mike.
Next match is Tiffany Stratton versus who's the champion versus Charlotte Flair. And this is the singles match for the WWE Women's Championship. And I guess apparently there's been some real life drama in the storyline going on with Charlotte Flair.
I heard that.
Yeah. So in this match, I'm gonna say Tiffany Stratton is gonna hold the belt. I think they put her in that position to have a little bit of a title reign. And as much as I think Charlotte Flair deserves the win, I believe that Tiffany Stratton's gonna pull it out.
Wow, I'm gonna go with the Queen Charlotte to take the belt back on the grandest stage of them all. What do you say, Terry?
I go with the Queen. She needs a title, and Tiffany, I think, is better positioned as somebody who's chasing the title.
Benny?
Yeah, I think that eventually Charlotte gives Tiffany the rub, but I think Charlotte's got a history of coming back from injuries and long absences, and they put the title right back on her every time. So I don't think this is going to be any different.
Next
one, we have Roman Reigns versus CM Punk with Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins. But this is a triple threat match to end the first day.
So what's your pick, Mike?
Well, this one, I'm going to actually go with Seth Rollins on this one. And I think it's going to be interference. And I have a feeling this time it's going to be Paul Heyman. It's going to pull a fast one.
Now,
right?
Before my pick, I gotta say that CM Punk couldn't make it last year for an injury or something happened there. I don't remember, but WrestleMania, he should be 1-on-1 for somebody. I mean, this is CM Punk, and I'm gonna go with him for the win. Terry?
Yeah, the whole thing with Heyman is misdirection at its best, and whether or not he's involved, I assume he will be involved in some fashion. I could see this as a Michael Hayes, Paul Heyman production with lots of finishing holds and kickouts, and could be the match of the weekend. But I'm going to go with the original Tribal Chief.
Wow, Benny.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of three-way matches, triple threats, but I mean, these guys are so talented that if any three could make it a good match, it's these three. I'm going with CM Punk just on the virtue of the huge build of it being his first WrestleMania main event, and I can't see him not winning this match.
Yeah, Mike, next.
Okay, so on day 2, the first match is going to be Io Sky, who's the champion, versus Bianca Belair versus Rhea Ripley.
What do you
say? And on this, I'm actually going to go with Rhea Ripley on this one.
You know what? I agree. She's championship material. I think she gets it. Terry?
Bianca, no great reason. Had to pick somebody. Io is a big unknown to me. I just don't get what the attraction is with her. So I'll go with Bianca.
Bianca. Terry. Denny.
You got actually, this is going to be one of those swerves. You got 3 baby faces, and one of them is going to turn, and it's going to be Bianca Belair, and she is going to win the championship. I don't know why when they had that whole big deal about Jade being attacked in the back and they found her on top of a car. It should not have been Naomi, because nobody really cares about Naomi. Naomi's been around for like 15 years. I think we've all had our life's allotment of Naomi. She's very pleasant. She's very talented, but she doesn't really, we're not emotionally invested in her. We are emotionally invested in Bianca Belair. So I don't know I think they should have pulled the switch on the heel turn then, but I think better late than never. So I do see her turning heel and her walking out the title.
I agree with that scenario, Benny, but and not Naomi, but they did Naomi for a reason, I guess. So go ahead, Mike.
Okay, next match after that is Liv Morgan and Rachel Rodriguez, who are the tag team champions, versus Bailey and Lyra Valkyria.
Excellent.
That's
Valkyria.
interesting match. Valkyria. I'm sorry. That match, I don't really. I guess I could go with. I'm just gonna pick one of the two, and I'm just gonna go with Liv Morgan and Rachel Rodriguez to win the title or to keep the title.
Wow. I'll agree, but I don't know. I mean, they have always pushed Bailey before, so I guess it is a toss up in my opinion.
Yeah.
Terry?
Liv and Raquel. Bailey seems to be like the little engine that can't. They keep giving her a little bit of a push, and then she loses it at the end. So I think this will be another one of those.
Benny?
Yeah, I agree with that, and also the fact that Lyra Valkyria has a championship, right? She's the women's IC champion, so you're not going to put another belt on her. So therefore they're not going to win.
Too many titles in the WWE.
When you have a women's IC championship, geez, come on.
I know. I mean, it's like AEW, another title I heard coming out. It's just too many.
Too much.
You gotta go back in the day, right? You know, you had the heavyweight, you had your US, and you had your IC, and you had your tag champs. That's it. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, next match is AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. In this match, I'm going to go with Logan Paul on this one.
I've always been and always will be, I guess, until he retires. And probably now here's a match where it can steal the show, right, guys, of both nights, because they're both that good. But I gotta stick with AJ Styles. Terry?
I give a slight advantage to Logan Paul because he's such a butthole. I don't really think that he needs a victory to keep his heat, whereas AJ, there's so much potential in him that they haven't really tapped recently. I'm going to give it to him. Give it to AJ.
Benny?
I'm going to go with Logan Paul. I think that, just like I said, Rey Mysterio is going to be a torch passer. I believe that's going to be AJ's style role and in the next couple of years. I think he's about 48 years old. He's in phenomenal shape, and he could probably go another good 5 years. But I think they have a lot invested in Logan Paul, and AJ Styles has done everything that any wrestler could ever do, and then some. So I think he's gonna, and my prediction is gonna be one of the better matches of both days. But I see Logan Paul winning this one.
Wow, you got a good point there, Benny. I mean, AJ Styles, the NWA champion, TNA champion, WWE champion. I mean, you're right. The guy's done it all. But always, to me, high up there. Go ahead, Mike.
Okay, so the next match is Braun Breaker, who's the champion, he's the current Intercontinental Champion, versus Penta, versus Finn Balor, versus Dominic Mysterio. And my pick for this one is I'm going to go with the underdog in this one, and I'm going to go with Penta.
Oh, just coming on the scene to steal the title, huh? Wow. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've liked Finn Balor. I think he's like an AJ Styles. He's very good. With or without the makeup gimmick. But I think out of these guys, I think Braun's going to retain it. I see other titles disappearing throughout the weekend, so I think Braun's going to keep it. Terry?
I don't see Braun getting pinned. I think somebody else will take the fall. And by hook or by crook, I'm going to go with Dominic.
Oh, might be the push. Benny?
Yeah, I actually second that. I think that Dirty Dom's going to win. Of course, there's going to be some interference. I don't know if it's going to be by Liv Morgan. But this is going to be, I think, the beginning of the end of Judgment Day. And I think that you're going to start – I don't know which one of them turns babyface. But between Dirty Dom and Finn Balor, I think that's going to be the next big rivalry.
Got a good point there. Mike?
Okay, so the next match I have is Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre on this one.
Yeah, I'll agree with that one. Terry?
I think Damian has just been singularly unimpressive on his own without the Judgment Day, without Rhea Ripley. I don't know what the plans are for him. Doesn't look like they've got any huge solid plans, but Drew deserves it, and Drew's going to get it.
Benny?
Yeah, Drew needs to get his flowers. That guy, I would think, over the past 5 years, is the MVP of the WWE. I mean, every match the guy is like spot on. He delivers. Whoever they put him in a feud with. I mean, shit, the feud with Punk was absolutely epic. And yeah, I really think. I mean, they gotta reward this guy. He's just been great.
Yeah. And Mike, I think that leads us to just the last one, the main event.
Well, the main event is obviously it's Cody Rhodes, who's the current champion, versus John Cena, who recently did a heel turn. And I'm going to go with John Cena on that one.
Now he's going to break Flair's record, you think, huh?
I think so. I think he's going to, if he does win it, he's going to have it for a little while, but he's going to lose it, obviously, or relinquish it. Or there's going to be a rematch.
I say I can't believe they waited all these years to turn him heel, right? But they had to set up a WrestleMania match somehow, some way. Probably some interference here, guys. Maybe The Rock, somebody. I'm going to say Cody retains it. I don't think they're going to take Flair's record. Terry?
Well, the big question is, what does The Rock want? And that will be the answer. I'm going to go with Cena. I could see a Cena versus Rock someday, which might be box office. But yeah, I agree. A lot of interference, but Cena when it's all said and done.
Wow. Benny?
Yeah, I think, the thing, though, what I think they've done a very, so far, poor job of connecting the dots. I mean, Cena turns heel, he attacks Cody, then he goes on TV and he cuts a couple of promos, and everything is about, how you fans, like, you turned on me all these years. And there's never been anything as to why he attacked Cody or why he's in cahoots with The Rock. I feel like they should have maybe somewhat connected those dots, and I'm hoping that at WrestleMania they do, and I believe they will, because they're good at tying everything together at the last minute. But you can't not have The Rock having some kind of involvement. I think Cena does win. He mentioned about winning the title and going home. I think he's going to win the title, and then you're not going to see him for a few months, and maybe shows up at SummerSlam. Now, I mean, my question is, I do not see him retiring as a heel. I don't know how, how do you undo what he has done? I mean, he's been, a lot of strong words for the fans. I mean, what is he going to say? That he was coerced by The Rock. I mean, that's how do you backtrack? Because you have to. You can't you're going to give him his 17th championship. You're going to give him, the I guess the greatest of all time designation, according to modern history. I don't believe that. I think Bruno Sammartino is the greatest of all time in my mind. But yeah, I think the question is what happens after this. But I do think he wins the title.
Wow. Well, let's talk about, we talked about off air, but we go back to me. Now, they're going to announce WrestleMania 42, I'm sure, like they do every year, a year ahead, right? But to have this year's WrestleMania on Easter Sunday night, Terry, I still can't believe that, number one. But they got a point, you have your dinner with your family or whatever, and then you got your night free to watch wrestling or whatever. Like, we were talking Starrcade, the Thanksgiving night tradition there in NWA, Mid-Atlantic Territory, Greensboro, and then the Survivor Series, right, Benny? They started to compete with the NWA back there in 87 and on with the Survivor Series on Thanksgiving night. So, I don't know. Do we see more events on holidays, guys?
Well, going back to the Detroit territory where I grew up and eventually worked, our two biggest gates of the year were on Christmas and Thanksgiving. And we ran two towns every day, one at, I think, 2 and the other one, or 2 or 3, and the other one at 8 that night. And they were always tremendous because what else do people have to do?
Right.
Yeah.
Benny, what do you think?
Yeah, that got me thinking to something because, Davey O'Hannon's going to be a guest upcoming on this show. And, when we chatted with him, people think wrestlers have a glamorous life. And, back in the day, they really didn't. I mean, you had 3 or 4 of them in a car driving from one town to the next town, stopping at a crappy diner to get something to eat. And it's probably not really the best, nutritious food, and then maybe, stopping at a payphone to call your family. And, I always, my expression, there was no PTO in professional wrestling back in the day. You didn't work, you didn't get paid. And these guys were supporting families. You wrestle with a 102-degree temperature, fever. You wrestle with a broken finger, a broken rib, sprained ankle, and because you needed to, number one, you needed to get paid. Number two, you needed to keep your spot on the card. You don't want to lose that either. And you're calling your kids, from a payphone on Christmas or Thanksgiving or their birthday. I mean, a lot of these guys, they've said like they miss so much with their families.
Sure. Same time, it was the best payday of the year.
Right. Yeah, they did what they had to do. I mean, a lot of respect to those guys. Wrestling 300 days a year, and those rings were like concrete back then.
Yeah, I got talking about territory. That reminded me of my my question, Terry, for you, of course, being in the territory. Other than our good friends Adam and Rock Parsons from the Wrestling Legends Network, and now Savoldi's Wrestling Library, is there anybody else, or do you know of any other Detroit TV shows or footage out there?
Anybody who's no, and I've contended, and some have argued with me. I was in the Sheik's office. I worked with them. I was in the videotape room, which was just a small little room, because, and I can tell you, there were maybe 3 tapes that the Sheik had from his entire career. One was the angle in Texas where you've probably seen him and Dory Funk Sr., and there was another one where, well, he beat up Tom Jones in Toronto, which was another famous angle for him. And the third one was with an American Indian wrestler. I don't remember the name. There weren't any other tapes. The show that aired in Detroit this week went to Cincinnati the next week, went to around what we called the bicycle to all the different towns, and eventually it came back to the office and was reused. It wasn't saved. Nothing was saved. So I don't think that there's anything remaining unless people were at home as time went on into the later 70s. If people recorded on their home VCR.
Which I wish I would have had from 1980 to 86, even a beta, from beta to VHS. I mean, I didn't have nothing till 86, but of course I remember, right, Benny, we talked about being up here in New York State. We had WWOR, Midnight Championship Wrestling, WWF. I had Maple Leaf Wrestling from Canada. We had a little bit of Florida in the morning. We had Mid-Atlantic, 3 o'clock every Saturday, NWA. I mean, those, of course, were the days. But Terry, one other bit of classic footage I want to throw out there. And I'm surprised our friends at the Wrestling Legends Network don't have it yet, but they're working with Savoldi's, I understand, with footage back and forth. They're supposed to be coming out with some Amarillo TV shows.
Ooh.
Nice.
So that I can't wait to see some of that. I mean, I got maybe 2 hours of it, but that's all I got.
Who owns that? Anybody know?
I don't know, but Savoldi's gonna be bringing it to us. So
It's funny. It's funny, like these tapes. Terry's talking about these tapes being recycled, and it reminds me of as a kid, we took baseball cards and we attached them to the spokes of our bicycles, and I mean, not knowing that like one of those cards might be worth like thousands of dollars. I mean, who knew? Who knew that like the baseball cards were going to be valuable? Same thing with these wrestling tapes. I guess. Who knew that these things were going to be like collector's items?
I myself still think the WWE is sitting on a gold mine of footage from Georgia to Mid-Atlantic to AWA. I mean, just a gold mine. And I hope we see it again, a version of the WWE network. I hope in the future. I'm always saying it to them. Maybe they'll hear me. I don't know. But, Mike, why don't you slide into our independent wrestler of the week?
Sure. Our independent wrestler of the week is out of Empire State Wrestling. Her name is Courageous Christina Marie, and she's the inaugural women's champion. She just had a match, and I believe she retained. And so again, she's our indie wrestler of the week. Right out of Buffalo. Actually, I believe they're out of Medina, New York. Medina. I don't know. I always pronounce Medina.
You
yeah.
say Medina. I say Medina.
Yeah, Medina. Yeah.
I still can't pronounce that one from Minnesota. Chainhausen. I got it. Chainhausen, Minnesota.
Actually, there's an Edina, Minnesota. Believe it or not.
Right. Was it Brad Rangans? No. Tom Zink. I believe the Z-Man was it Edina.
Oh, I remember him.
The Z-Man, Tom Zink, yeah. Wow, all right, our independent. I like that cool belt, that cool new women's belt. That's pretty big. That's pretty cool.
And is she a baby or a heel there, Mike? Is she a baby face or a heel?
That's a good question. I have no idea. I didn't.
I guess a heel.
She looks like she could be a heel, but
she's probably a heel, I'm assuming, but.
And what about our military salute of the week?
Okay, military salute of the week is Bobby Lashley. He spent 3 years in the service after college, and he actually won a golden medal. He won a gold and a silver medal in the International Military Sports Council during his time in the service. So he was a gold and silver medalist while he was in the service. I guess he followed the footsteps of his father, who also was in the military prior to that.
Wow, did not know that about Mr.
And now,
Lashley.
Yep.
Wow,
and now he's currently part of the Hurt. Yep, he's currently part of the he's contracted to the AEW now as part of the Hurt Syndicate. And I guess right now they're battling with good old MJF.
Yes, I've seen.
He's quite a character. Yeah, he's quite a character.
He is. Imagine if he comes to the WWE someday. Wow.
I'm hoping. Maybe we'll see. Depends on how loyal he is to Tony Khan, and depends on the money. I think.
Always depends on the money, right, guys?
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Payday. So, Benny, why don't you put up my picture for our public service announcement of the week? Is April is not only Autism Awareness Month, as we said last week, but this week we are highlighting another one in the month of April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. There's some great avenues out there to reach out and talk to people about this. Also, your local police departments and whatnot, but your 988 number and just psychologists. Don't ever be afraid to talk about anything, especially about this. And we just want to throw it out there that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. So, well, guys, as we wrap up here for this week, we got to thank our guest, fellow WFIA Special Advisor, Mr. Terry Sullivan, for joining us this week and his annual WrestleMania picks. And we got to check if you do it 3 years in a row, Terry.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a chance of that.
But of course, you're always welcome back here with us,
Absolutely.
and
Thank you.
we'll definitely have you back on. As Benny said, next week we have Mr. Davey O'Hannon joining us here. He was mainly WWF Benny. I don't think he was anywhere else after that.
I think he won. I think the Texas Brass Knucks Championship before he came to
down
he
in
did.
Houston territory.
Yeah. And I think he won a tag title with Dennis Stamp down in Texas. But once he came to New York, I think he pretty much stayed there the rest of his career.
Yeah, but so we'll have him next week, and we're got a ton of shows lined up for the month of May, and sky's the limits here on Classic Pro Wrestling with the WFIA podcast. And we like to thank everyone for checking us out. Like, subscribe on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel, which you can see us each and every Saturday night as our debut of this show, and then you can click and watch it anywhere. Mike and I also share it and pass it along on Facebook, and we're working on a Spotify soon too. So again, thank you, Terry, for joining us and your time, sir. And guys,
thank you very much, Terry. Very good.
Sure. No problem.
I liked your picks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I guess we'll see who has bragging rights next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Benny, why don't you take us out of here? We'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Take
All right,
care,
everyone.
guys.
See you next week.